Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today on why the American can become part of the Power 5 and make the Power 6. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated if you do that, and you won't regret it. So if you haven't heard the news, I'm a little bit late to the party. UConn is moving all of their programs except the football program to the Big East Conference. Now, the Big East Conference is um, FBS double A, Division One double A football. So they would not be. That means if UConn moved the football program to the Big East, they would not be playing again. They would be considered an FCS opponent, basically. UConn, they have elected to explore opportunities for the football program. Then they're going to be leaving the American after the 2020 season, I believe. So UConn, in my opinion, they're either going to go to the Sun Belt or be an independent. I don't think the Conference USA wants them just as a football team, but I think either they'll go to the Sun Belt or they'll go to or there'll be an independent. So I think there'll be one of those two. So that's basically the easy question there. But the move of UConn going to the Big East, I think, opens up an opportunity for the American to become to be part of the Power 5 and to become the Power 6. So the American, since Connecticut left, now they have teams in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, North Carolina. They have teams in Florida, Louisiana, Tennessee, Texas, and Oklahoma. And they also have Wichita State for the basketball season as well in Kansas. But since Wichita State does not have a football program, they are not part of the football. So the American, they're basically on the East Coast. I mean, all the teams in Oklahoma and Texas they're on the eastern side of those states. So basically, the American can go a number of different avenues. Now, obviously, they're going to have to add a team. So the question is, teams that can move to the American. I came up with a list of a few teams that I will want to talk about. And by the way, and I'll explain how each team could make the American a Power 6, a part of the Power 5, and to become the Power 6. First team, this is the only Power 5 team that I have on this list, Rutgers. Rutgers is terrible at everything, but they could be middle of the road in the American, which will be an upgrade from UConn on the football side. And by the way, I'm only talking about the basketball and the basketball and football aspects of this. I don't care about the other sports. But on the football side, it would definitely be an upgrade in my opinion because I think Rutgers could be a middle of the road team in the American on the football side. On the basketball side, I still think they'll be a bit below average, but it will be a drop off compared to UConn. So I think that move kind of maybe makes the football argument better of the Power 6. But the basketball point, not really. And by the way, the basketball point is no really like Power 5 or Group of 5. It's kind of like, oh, any team can make it in the tournament, and then they can go as far as they want. So actually, now thinking about it, I'm going to kind of just focus on the football. I think Rutgers to the American. I think it's an upgrade from UConn from like maybe a 2-10 team to maybe a 6-6 team. I think it's an upgrade, and you can make the argument, hey, we have another team that makes bowl games consistently. So that's why Rutgers will be on the list. Now the rest of the teams or either group of fives or independents. First team is the independent team on the list. Army and Navy, they have a classic rivalry. The American, they could basically just have rights to that whole rivalry. So that's point number one. And the American can also have their whole week to themselves. Point number two, Army, have you seen them lately? I was watching a video today, the Gridiron Expert. Go ahead and sub him up if you haven't. He's basically a college football analysis guy. He did his preseason top 25 today, and he has Army at 20. Okay, so Army is a very good football team. They're expected to win 10 games again. We're doing a prediction video on them on one of the days that I'm on vacation. So, and I'll explain that later. But Army, I mean that if you had Army, you could really make an argument saying, hey, we have a 10-2 Army team. We have UCF. South Florida always seems to go at least 7-5. Temple is good, even though they're bringing on a new head coach. Cincinnati is very good. Uh, what else do you have? You have in the West, Memphis, Houston. Those teams always seem to be at least 8-win teams. They've had off year, but they're going to bounce back. Tulsa is a team that seems to be a bit streaky, but they can make some bowl games and a little bit of noise. Tulane is usually a consistent program, usually on the bottom half, but consistent and makes a bowl game every season. I mean, SMU kind of the same thing. A bit, they're basically a consistent 6-7 win program. East Carolina, listen, East Carolina, they're they they're not that good right now, but we hired the JMU head coach. You gotta think, hey, we have a chance to get back to where we were 6-7 years ago, and get to at least 8 wins and consistently 8 wins. So that argument alone, along with Army, yeah, if you have teams like that, I might have to consider you. I might have to consider the Power Six if you add Army. So that's on the list. Now the rest of these teams are going to be in conferences. We're going to start off with the Conference USA. The Conference USA, I came up with a few teams. And by the way, all these teams are teams that are not in the states. So basically, not in any of the states I brought up a few minutes ago that a American team is in. So no North Texas, no Middle Tennessee. First team, Marshall. Marshall is a team. Uh, they're basically one of two teams in the state of West Virginia. They're basically the little brother to West Virginia. No offense, Marshall fans, and basically they have like the best bowl record of all time. I think. Yeah, they do. They have the best bowl record at this time with percentage wise and win total, not win total wise, but win percentage wise. They always seem to be a consistent 8, 9, 10 win program. I mean, put them in the East and take UConn spot. You gotta make the argument Power Six right there because they will be at least a 7-5 team in the first few years in the American, and then they can rise up. They get very good recruiting talent in the state of West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, Southern Ohio, Western PA. So that's the school right there. Add them. And by the way, the basketball program isn't bad either. Marshall, definitely a team that I think you gotta have the conversation for. Team number 2 in the Conference USA, UAB. Now, I don't know how UAB is basketball-wise, but I know how they are football-wise. Very good. I mean, pretty damn good. People were making the argument that they were better than UCF last year. Add UAB to the American, I don't think there's a debate. I believe the UAB could go right into the American and go 10-2, honestly. And we're going to see what they do this year. They have their toughest game is against Tennessee and Knoxville. If they go up to Tennessee, if they go up to Knoxville and beat them, I'm not saying this is happening in real life, but let's say they do it hypothetically. Man, I mean, you got to really consider UAB as a team that could really elevate the American, and you could really make the argument for the Power Six. Next team I came up with is Southern Miss. This is the third and final team in the Conference USA. Southern Miss, a very consistent team, 7-8 win program team right there. They might struggle a little bit early once they get to the American for the first year or two, and not maybe even make a bowl game. But add them. I don't think you can make a strong argument, but I think the argument is there that, hey, we could be the Power Six. So those are the three teams in the Conference USA. Now to the MAC. The MAC, I came up with three teams. The first team is Buffalo. They were very good last season. They were expected to be good again this season. They beat Temple last year, so they can definitely prove that they could go. And I think the game was in Temple, so they could prove that, hey, they could beat the upper hands in the American. Add them, you gotta make the argument. I mean, there's an argument there for the Power Six. So Buffalo is the first team. Second team, Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is a team. Listen, they're kind of a little bit out there, and they seem to be a very consistent program in the MAC. At least 9 wins every year. You gotta think if they go into the American, you gotta think at least 7-5, 8-4 at the beginning, and possibly even getting better. So that's the second team I came up with, and then the third team, Ohio. Listen, Ohio is one of those teams. They always seem to be consistent about 7 wins. You can't really make an argument for them being for the American being part of the Power Six, but Ohio is one of those teams that definitely an upgrade from UConn, and they'll definitely be a very competitive team in the American. I didn't do any teams in the Mountain West. I do have two teams in the Sun Belt, and that is Troy and Appalachian State. We'll start off with Appalachian State. Listen, Appalachian State. Um, uh, Listen, very good team. They always seem to run through their division. They go ahead. They always seem to be at least 9-3. Add them. I think Appalachian State could go 7-5 immediately in the American, possibly even 8-4, and maybe even 9-3. We were waiting to see. They have 2 games this year against North Carolina and South Carolina. Those games are going to be measured importantly since the American is going to be looking for the 12th team to add. So for the football purposes. So definitely, so those 2 games are going to be measured very importantly. And listen, those games I think would be kind of close. If Appalachian State, if they could pull off an upset in one of them, man, I mean, I think it's tough to not. I think it's tough not to say no to them. I know they're in the same state as East Carolina. They're on the opposite end of North Carolina. East Carolina is in Greenville, North Carolina, which I'm actually going to be nearby in a few weeks, and Appalachian State's in Boone, North Carolina, in the mountains. So definitely a team I think you got to consider in Appalachian State. And then the other team, Troy, very consistent program, pretty good offense, 10-2, a 10-2 program usually most years. Listen, if they once again win some games, I don't know who any of their big time opponents out of the conference, but that's a team that I think could go into the American and be 8-4 right away. So, and you get a market in Alabama, so you could compete with the SEC. So that's another bonus. But anyways, those are the teams that I have on my list of teams that the Americans should consider adding if they want to become the Power Six and be, because you hear the whole argument, oh, the American, the Power Six, UCF, UCF, but yeah, it was kind of a drop off at first after the UCF. Now UCF, Houston, Memphis, South Florida, Cincinnati, Temple, those are 6 teams right there. That's good enough to make an argument to maybe be right there with the Pac-12 and the ACC. Add a few other teams. Oh yeah, I forgot one other team that I want to mention real quick. I think they deserve an honorable mention. But let me finish my spiel right here. Add a decent team. Some of these programs like Tulane and SMU, the middle of the road teams. Navy, I think, will bounce back some. I mean, you could really make an argument for a Power Six. And the one team I forgot to add, there is one FCS opponent I do want to throw in there, and that is JMU. They won so many championships. Well, I think they only won one championship, but they've been in the playoffs every year. And basically, I think they could go 7-5 if you put them in the American right now. I'm just gonna be honest with you, but that's the team I think should consider a little bit of consideration. But I think they're gonna have to join the Sun Belt before they go straight to the American. But anyways, that's my opinion. Add one of those teams I mentioned, and I think you could really make an argument. that the American is a power six, should be, and there should be a power six. But anyways, comment down below. Tell me what you think. I always like hearing from you all. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. I will appreciate that if you do, and you won't regret it. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.